What's up YouTube, it's your boy Barcode. I'm back with another video. This is your free-to-play channel on getting better. And today's video is going to be tips and tricks on how to beat players that you may think that you may lose straight from the lobby. If you like this content, you know what to do. Hit that sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy dingy thing so you know when I post a video. Let's get to it. In Lost Centuria, there's definitely a skill cap. You could always buy your way to the top, but you still have to know the mechanics of the game and know when to use cards and when not to use cards. I'm going to talk to you about my thought processes in each game as a free-to-play player on how to beat those guppies, minnows, whales, mega whales, etc. Here's one example of a game where I thought I pretty much lost straight from the lobby. Every single monster they have has a hero stone. He's got a level 15 plus 5 Thrain, level 13 Jean, level 14 Lucian with a Megan and a Konamiya. Straight from the get-go, I thought I was going to lose. But let's get into my thought process in game. First and foremost, you always have to look at the enemy deck right from the start. You have to plan ahead to know what you can use and not use. For instance, I know they have a Lucian and a Thrain. They're already beating me in mana because of the Megan. And they have a Cleanse in McKean and a Cleanse in Konamiya when he dies. They also have a Ganymede, which will burn my cards if he uses it aggressively. So I know I have to use my mana as quick as possible. I become extremely aggressive against this deck. So on that thought process, in the beginning, I use cards straight out the deck. I call this the Noob Strategy. So here we go. 2 mana cost. I have it Prelude on Swift, so I go ahead and use Swift. Prelude, get the armor break so that I win the attack battle. I then use Ray, because the armor break is there. Big damage on the front line. He uses Lucian, I take that damage, but I know he's going to use the Lucian, so I save my Colleen for after the Lucian, so I can get the heal and the attack buff, which is important. I see he uses McKean, I don't use anything yet. I wait for the McKean. I go ahead and use my attack buff to Lapis. And then I throw up a quick defense buff. I then go back to my noob strategy of just spamming, Prelude, get the damage, get down that front line because I need to win the battle before he starts using Thrain at the end. This is where I become a little bit passive here. And I wait to see what he uses. I heal up because I thought there was a Lucian coming, but he actually used Giant Warrior instead, which actually helps me a lot. Knocks down that Thrain health. He's going to use Thrain. I go in and do big damage. Trey has a big HP pool, so I'm not worried about it. He doesn't get stunned because I used it on a counter. He's going to use Thrain again. I knock down that Lucian, get the buff, so all my auto attacks heal my team. And he's pretty much done for at this point already. He's going to use Thrain again. I knock down that Jean. Even though I have health conversion, I could easily heal through this. But I'm not worried about it, and that's pretty much GG right there. In this next battle, it's going to be very difficult because it's a Guardian Manu. He's got the Camilla Legendary Stone, which is crazy good. He has the Purple Mana Stone, so I know he has the mana advantage. Use Bernard for the mana advantage even more. And what I see already, he has a Lucian, so he's going to Lucian Konamiya Lucian. And he's going to try to kill him off with Jean and Hua. I'll show you my thought process here. Again, since he has the mana advantage, I want to go off as quick as possible. I'm going to start this with Prelude with the armor break so I can win the attack battle early. So let's start this and see what he does and what I do. So I go ahead and throw that armor break out with Prelude. I only got 2, but it's on the front line, so that actually helps me a lot with that health. He uses Megan, so I need the attack buff and a defense buff just in case he uses Hua or Jean first. So I go ahead and do that. He uses Jean to knock down my my Verdi. I go ahead and counter with Lapis to get that damage out, and I have a shield against Lucian. He uses Lucian, so again I save my Colleen for after Lucian. There's the Konamiya reset on Lucian again. He's got attack 3. He's going to use it again. Knocks down my team pretty low in the back line. I have Camille in the front line, which helps. He goes use Hua, but I use Hooray to knock down that front line. My whole purpose is to get to that back line as quick as possible. He uses Colleen to heal up. He's got Blood Curtain. I use Prelude just to get that armor breaks again. I only got it on Lucian, which is fine because Konamiya is pretty low. I know he doesn't have the Konamiya, but I'm saving for he uses Lucian, so I can use Divine Protection and protect my team. I then go ahead and counter with Lucian, ignore defense AoE. I'm going to take a step back just to talk about Divine Protection real quick. When you use Divine Protection, depending on its card level, you can get up to 2 to 3 cards off before he uses any skills and before I become unimmune to damage. So in this thought process, you have to think to use cards and to actually save some mana. Sometimes the enemy can't even see that your team still has invincibility, so they may make a mistake and counter while you're still immune from damage. So after I use this Camilla, I automatically spam another card, which is going to be Colleen, to get an attack buff and a heal. In this instance, he makes a mistake. So I spam Colleen right now. He goes ahead and uses Hua to try to kill, but I still had invincibility, which saved my life. I think that was the turn of events right there. He uses Divine Protection, so I counter just to get some damage off before the Divine Protection. He uses Ragnarok, which I knew was going to happen, so I use Health Conversion. Anytime you see a Camilla, you gotta think they have Divine Protection in their deck. Here comes Hua to kill my Shannon. Lowers my mana, that's fine. My Health Conversion goes off. I'm gonna take another step back because when you look at the enemy team and you see certain characters that you know what exactly they're gonna do, such as Camilla, you have to plan ahead. So in this instance, I'd also know they have a Jean. I can't use my highest attack monster because I know they're gonna counter with Jean. You should always know who your highest attack monster is because there's a lot of characters and a lot of spells that will affect this. Just a thought going forward. Alright, so he's gonna use his Jean here. I go ahead and counter with Lapis to get some big damage off. They do heal a little bit because Camilla's passive, which is fine, but I'm knocking them down slowly. He uses Colleen. I'm going to wait and save mana. I'm not worried about the heal yet. And at this instance, I know I have the health advantage because I have three tanky characters up front. And they have low Jean, Hua, low health characters, okay? So what I'm waiting for here is exhaustion. And once exhaustion comes, then one of us is going to have to make a move. But I know that I'm going to win this battle already. And you should really understand how exhaustion works against the monsters that are available. So he wants me to use a skill. But I'm smart enough for that to not. So here, now we're at max HP, 50%. My level 12 Camilla is stronger than his level 11 Camilla. So now it's about even, and I actually have the advantage because Jean is going down really quick. So I know he uses Jean. I have Chain of Despair in my deck. Hit him up. He's stunned with Hua, and there's nothing he can do. I don't know what cards he has, but I know he has now Curse, and that would have hurt. If I used the card, he could have used that early. Alright, now here's another team where I thought I was pretty much done from the get-go. Especially when I faced a Copper and my front line is only 1 fire. I thought I was done for. I wouldn't consider Presk a whale or anything like that. He could honestly be free to play. I have my first level 12 legendary of Camilla. He could have a level 12 Artemil. He obviously spent a lot of mana on Seek because he's level 14. I'm going to guess that he's like a Minnow or even a Guppy. He spent a little bit of money. A really solid deck right here. But like I said, you always want to look at the enemy team and think about what they are planning to do. And what I see here, what they're planning to do is to reset Copper with the defense buff skill stone of Konomiya. Throw out a Copper, kill my front line, reset, finish anyone else off with Copper in the front. And then he has 2 single target damage dealers in the back. Seek can pretty much one-shot most people, and Artemil if they have buffs. And I'm going to tell you, his Artemil hits like a truck. He's also going to play the counter game with Ramagos if he can early, and Chloe for damage immunity. But whenever you see a Shannon and you're playing Shannon yourself, which I think Shannon should be in every deck regardless, defense buff is very good, you got to play it just right. Alright, so against this deck, I don't need to play this aggressively. I'm going to pretty much play this majority of the time on counters. The reason I play this passively is because I know they're going to do a reset Copper kind of combo, wombo combo. So I'm waiting for them to use the defense buff first. The one thing I usually do though in the beginning of the match is to do some damage first before they do, just so I can have the health advantage straight off the bat. If you do that, then you can play more passively and on counters, and you're going to knock down their frontline first monster first before they knock down yours. Whoever has the health advantage can play more passively and on counters. Alright, so first and foremost, I'm going to use Hooray, get some damage down, especially against the Ramagos. He uses defense buff, so I'm going to wait here just in case he uses copper. He uses Artemil, so I'm going to go ahead and use Shannon just to get the defense buff. Artemil strips and knocks down my Coon quick as can be. He uses copper, so here, this is what I'm going to do. Heal up, get my attack buff to 3. He resets copper, of course, but I'm going to get my attack buff to 3. I go ahead and spam Prelee. He uses invincibility, but I get the armor breaks on everyone, which is super important. I wait till invincibility is up. I use my Lapis, attack 3, do big damage. Their front line is really low already. I'm going to use Hrey on the armor break. He uses Shannon, that's fine. He still does big damage. 3,000 on Konamiya. I have the health advantage now. I go ahead and use Verdi as quick as possible. Knock down that front line. That's all I want to do is get the copper. So now it's front line to my 6. He uses Artemil. I use Prelee to mitigate the damage that copper does. Artemil does. He uses Soul Cleanse to get rid of the armor breaks, which is fine. I'm going to take a step back. Whenever someone uses Chain of Despair on you, hopefully you have some kind of Soul Cleanse or immunity or whatever the case may be to get rid of Chain of Despair, because if you don't, you're pretty much screwed. But what I'm waiting for here is for him to use some kind of skill so that I can use my immunity so that the Chain of Despair does not move on. I don't run Soul Cleanse, so I don't have the ability to cleanse it. I don't run a cleanser. I don't run transfer. So the only way I can actually win this is if I block it from moving to the next person. So here, I'm going to use immunity right now because I know the Chain of Despair is going to move. Now it's gone. I use Camilla on my invincibility. Ignores damage. 1,400 damage. Pretty decent. He didn't have attack buff, so it's fine. I have immunity still, so I get the Shannon buff up now. I use Lapis just to knock down some more damage from them. They have defense 3, so it's going to hurt. Almost 10,000 damage from Artemil for defense 3. He refreshes defense. I'm waiting for the copper or the Artemil. Now, there is a skill set against Artemil players. Whenever you see an Artemil, you need to understand on how his skill works. He has a very drawn out animation. He has the ability to strip all the buffs, if he doesn't resist, of course. But there's a time frame where you can apply skills after the strip would come. You want to counter at the exact precise moment when you can actually apply skills and after his strip. So as you see here, there's this precise moment. I'm going to press play now. Right now is when you want to use a skill. You can even do it a little bit before, but right now is the exact moment when you want to use a skill. And as you can see, I'm using my damage conversion spell right after the strip would occur. So now my spell, the counter, comes on and I heal and he doesn't get the strip. Now this gives me time to throw out as much damage as possible. And after the buff to damage conversion, it's a longer period of time. I can get 2, maybe 3 skills out if I have the mana. So he's going to use Artemil again. I want to get the armor break on him so he does not as much damage. But even with a defense break 3 and a defense buff 3, he does 4,900 damage, which is crazy. So I'm trying to knock down, and he's healing half of his damage. So, that hurts too. He throws out spread damage. I kill the copper as quick as I can. And what you got to know with spread damage, it does a crap ton of damage, especially now after I think 2 buffs ago. Spread damage now has a defense break, and that's huge. I don't have any defense buff. I don't have any shields. It's going to be big damage. Seek is very hard to counter on his first hit, but you can counter him on his second. So I know this is coming. So when he does it, I'm going to apply Chain of Despair as quick as possible. It kills Seek, moves on to Artemil, and it's pretty much GG from there. That's all the time I have today. Hopefully these tips can help you become a better player. I hear a lot of comments about this game is hard. It's definitely got a higher skill cap, especially from players that came from Sky Arena from a turn-based game to here where it's a real-time action game. In the future, I'm going to bring out some more tips and tricks and strategies that I use, what monsters are better for countering, what monsters are better to be aggressive. There's a ton of things on my list, and I will get to them as soon as I can. So if you like this content, you know what to do. Sub, like, dingy dingy bell. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.